Ooh, there
And
we
microphone's on.
go. Ah, I see your elbow.
Can you hear yourself if you turn the sound on?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's find out. I'm gonna mute my phone. No, if I do that, it won't work, huh? All right. Yep, I can hear me. Oh, wow.
So the bottom side is basically plain down. I did that because I wanted to put the top side through still. Um,
Yeah.
and I want it to be a flat surface going into the planer so
Yeah.
that it gets rid of this lip. But the top and the bottom
Oh,
basically look the same.
and
It's
it's
looking
so
pretty
cool.
pretty nice, I think.
And it's looking amazing.
So there's just a little lip. I don't know if I can get it to the point where you can
Yeah, no, I
see
can
it
see it. I can see it.
um, on the on the top, or I guess it could be the bottom. It doesn't really matter. They're identical. So, um, and this thing is really like right at the limit of what my right at the limit of what the planer can take. I think it actually could have been maybe a a quarter of an inch wider or something, but but it's just like it's got a full mouth when I put it on here. And sometimes while I was doing the other side, and when I was trying to make sure everything would fit, because if it didn't, I was going to have to rip off like an edge, right? A little bit of
Yeah,
each side.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes when I put it in and it goes to grab it, it turns it a little sideways and then it locks because it can't
Uh-oh.
actually pull it in.
Oh
So I have to
no.
be very careful, like sliding it in. Um, but it's basically ready to go. And then there's a little bit of a lip on here that I need to sand down.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else is basically flush all the way around. There's a little lip on this, but it's
Wow.
very tiny.
Yeah,
So it's all on one side. I'll need to do a little bit of coarse sanding on that. So,
yeah. Oh, it's
um,
so cool.
so
It
I
looks
think it looks
really
really,
good.
really kind of nice. And you can see like it's probably like an inch and a little bit more than an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter thick.
It's
Um,
solid.
so it's also very heavy. So
Yeah.
just to keep in mind, when it goes through the planer, and I've got to catch it on the other side. It usually I can just barely like hold it with one hand coming off of there. So
Yeah.
all right,
So Shop Off, Shop Huff says that's gorgeous.
yeah, it's pretty good. We started last stream, and I did all the cuts for. It's got a little bit of a um, fuzz on it. Um, the braided pattern here, this herringbone that goes back and forth. I did all these cuts last time, and I cut all these things, the actual board pieces that
Mm-hmm.
go on, and I cut the frame last time. And then when nobody was looking, I've been gluing the pieces on a little bit at a time. And I started in the center, and I have just been gluing them outward. Um, if I had a set of pipe clamps, I probably could have just done them all at once. I think I could glue
Mm.
it up fast enough that I could have put them all on here, but I still would have had to glue these things a little at a time. So for these, I actually I had a longer cut, and then so this was actually just diagonals, and then I cut it down the center and flipped it over. So now it's, and then I shifted it, so I had to do like two longer than the actual length of the board, so I could
Oh
shift
yeah.
them so that they alternate. And then there is a little alternating. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but because of the
Yeah.
glare, so there is one little strip of alternating um, colors in there. I was trying to do two, but I just opted for a red instead
Yeah,
because I ran out of room. So,
it's
um,
beautiful.
so we're gonna plane this down. That's my plan. Just gotta get this lip off, and then I'm gonna router. Well, I'm gonna sand this edge a little bit, and then I'm gonna router around to get it rounded. And once the edge is rounded, then I gotta sand again. And the planer will get most of it. In fact, it's super smooth coming through the planer because my planer's got nice sharp blades on it. Um, but that isn't nearly quite as fine as the sandpapers that I have. So I'll probably start with a 120, maybe a little bit coarser to get rid of this lip, and
Yeah.
then I'll take um, the sandpaper grit up higher and higher, and until it's basically, I think I have 330. I might actually have 400 grit somewhere. Hey,
Ooh.
Shadowfax.
Good.
I don't know that
This-
you can tell the difference between a 330 and a 400, to be honest. I don't think that's it's sold very frequently because people are like, why do you need 400?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
330 is pretty fine. I
Yeah.
really do think I have some 400 around on my for my orbital, but
Yeah.
you've always admired woodworking. You're terrible at it. Well, I'd actually argue this is pretty easy to do. The hard part is coming up with a nice solid design, and then there's a little bit of decision making and whatever else. But it's actually, I think, pretty easy. But I also have a sort of a biased opinion because I've like 2 streams ago I made a kalimba, right? By
That was
comparison,
fun.
like this thing by comparison is a lot more complicated because it's got a lot more sides to it. This is just basically a block of wood, right? Or rather, like 15 blocks of wood. So this one actually was pretty simple because I just made one matching block of wood by gluing these pieces together, and then I split it down the middle so that both sides are the same. So, and then I had to put it in this, frame bit, but that was actually a little bit easier. All
Oh
right,
wow.
it's gonna get loud,
It's gonna get noisy.
so I'm gonna mute myself, and then I'm gonna ask Pacific Plankton to mute me, and she can continue talking. So if you have something to say, she'll try to relay it to me. I should be able to hear through the headphones what she's saying,
Oh
and
wow. You'll hear through the headphones while you're using
yeah,
the saw.
yeah, I can
Okay.
hear. I've got noise
Okay.
canceling headphones on. I can hear pretty well. I mean, I can hear music. I hardly hear the sound of the saw at all, really. Um,
Wow.
but that's a. The other day, I actually took the headphones off and I turned on the table saw or the whatever, one of these things, and I was like, Jesus, that's loud. Um, so it's impressive how much of it gets canceled out by my headphones. Okay, so I'm going to hit the mute, and then for Pack, you'll have to mute me, and then a vacuum needs to be turned on, and then some game with the planer will happen, and I'll try to get us basically to a flat surface. Okay,
Ooh. All right.
here we go.
Okay. All right. So in theory, he's muted. I can still hear you because I haven't deafened you yet. Um. Let's. Well, I will. I will. I'll take care of my ears. Can. Okay. Can anybody hear me in Can you hear me in chat if I keep talking while he's hit the button? Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yep. All right. Sweet. No, I can hear you. I can hear you. All right. I'm gonna. All right. So it says, what am I doing? Let's see. See, I think there's like a noise gate and it just drops out when it gets too loud on my headphones anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me. I mean, there's like no sound. Of course, is everybody else hearing sound? No, you should all be muted. Oh, got stuck. That's so cool. You're standing right in front of the camera. There it goes. It does get stuck. It's a very snug fit. Not a lot of wiggle room. There it goes, there it goes. So cool. So does it take like a 16th inch at a time off, probably? Wow. There it goes. So I'm curious in chat, can you guys hear the music? Or is it just silent? Yes, there's music. Awesome. Because I'm listening through Discord, so I'm not hearing what you're hearing. He's just a bit quiet. Okay, just number one. Hey, Del. How you doing? Look at it's a woodshop stream. How you doing, Del?
All right, I'm back.
You're back. Del's here.
This is what we're building, Del. It's a cutting board for Pacific plankton.
That's
and
cool.
I just planed down this surface, so now it's completely flat. And both sides are now completely flat. My next step is I'm going to sand this edge just a little bit right here. There's a tiny bit of a lip. And thank you. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. And especially now that it's been through the planer, which is basically the last object of danger for potentially destroying it. At this point, sanding it can't really hurt it very much. I can't sand it enough to destroy it. And it has the potential going through the planer to get wrecked if it grabs some of the wood the wrong way. And you'll note that I wasn't standing in front of the planer for very long. That's because if it grabs wood, it's going to throw it out the front end of the planer, and it would probably throw it right through me. So I don't stand anywhere near the front of that thing while it's running. But now it's done. So
Wow.
I mean, I need to run the vacuum for a split second, but I think you can handle that sound. It's loud, but it's not that loud.
And he shot a piece of wood through a trash can across the room. So it was one of those, like, you do not want to be the trash can moments.
I have had it grab something and throw it before. For the planer, it gets pretty crazy. It's not as bad as the kickback on the table saw. I actually have had the kickback on the table saw throw something at me, and I think it just hit me right in the chest. Knocked the wind out of me for a second, but it was a very small thing that got flung at me. So, yeah, not cool. But let's see if I do this. You can see what I'm working on. Sorry, my Droid Cam is not working tonight for some reason. But you can see the surface of this now, right?
Yes, definitely. So
and
cool.
It's completely flat. There's a little bit of the planer bites a little bit because I don't have an extension that comes off the front of it. So it tends to do a little bit of a bite. You can get like a table sort of extension on the front and the back. That, at least in theory, should keep that from happening, but I think it still happens no matter what. It's the way that the planer sort of grips the wood. And like I said, we're down to things that can't really get destroyed too badly. It's not good for me to leave that sitting out though, probably.
Sanding.
Yeah, so this is just an orbital sander. DeWalt, like almost everything in my wood shop, and it doesn't actually make that much noise. The reason I really like this thing, it has a vacuum, so it just velcros on, and then it pulls all of the dust into a little container, and provided that I keep this relatively empty, I also don't have to breathe a lot of nasty dust, which is the other hazard associated with any kind of woodwork. Alright, to get that edge off, I think I'm going to want an 80.
Have you ever looked at sandpaper on the SEM?
No, that hasn't happened. I think I should.
Okay. Interesting to see what the grains look like. Maybe.
Just for people at home, is this making too much noise?
No one said anything, but you could probably mute. Maybe they all muted you anyway. Yeah, that's loud with the headphones on. Just
Okay.
that one. We got you. He'll mute. Is that better? So hopefully that's better. Nice. There we go. Got to smooth those out because I think there's some routering that's going to go on too, huh?
Yeah, that's actually the next step.
Are you still muted or did you unmute?
No, I unmuted.
Sweet. Because I'm not listening to the stream.
All right. Yeah, the next step is to router the edges. So I'm going to take these edges and round them. So we had a conversation about how rounded you wanted them. And I usually just do them a little bit at a time. So this is a 1/8 round router bit on the end of it. And then I've got that's a 1/4 round, and that's a 1/2 round. So they just basically spin and cut the edge. It has a little wheel right here which feels the edge. So it's basically impossible to do anything but round the edge of the wood. Kind of dummy proof, which is good because I don't like to think a lot while I'm working. I just like to keep in mind what I'm doing. I don't want to have to also think about what I'm doing if I can help it.
You seem to do a lot of pre-planning when you do these projects.
I do. I like to plan ahead. I think that it actually makes everything else go very smoothly. So the other thing I like to do here, maybe you can see, is I've clamped down the board because whenever I router, I don't want the board to get running away from me. And this is the edge I'll be routering. And then I always, I don't know if you noticed, but everything gets unplugged except for the sander because I could basically put my hand on the sander and not have it hurt me. But the planer and the table saw and everything else, if it's got a blade on it, I unplug it. And the router as well, whenever I touch anything where it could potentially get turned on. So, because I like my fingers and I want to keep them.
Good. Yeah. So Del says he needs to redo his whole garage and he loves your setup. And Just Number One says wood that runs away from you doesn't sound ideal.
No, never. So I always want to make sure that it's basically not going anywhere. And then we'll just, this has already got a piece on it. And it's basically level so that the rounded edge is just basically going to cut along this edge. And then I'll rotate the boards and reclamp it and do it again. But you should be able to see me doing it from here. I'm just going to mute the sound again. And because it's going to be loud. Also, the router throws a lot of wood, so I'm going to put my mask on. So.
Good idea. No inhaling the wood. Definitely not good for your lungs. So Del, I don't know that I've seen your setup. I know you've done a few woodshop streams, but Hey, Barbados Black Belly. It is looking nice, isn't it? He's just got it muted because he's routering. And then rotate and clamp. Wow. Oh, there it goes. I love the way the router corners finish. I think it's really cool. And flip it over and repeat. There it goes. So I've used a router before. I haven't used one much. None of the projects that I worked on had nice routered finished edges. But I like the idea of doing the smaller cuts. Nice round edges.
Yeah, so this is first step is to do the eighth of an inch rounding. I don't know if you can actually see it, but it barely looks rounded, right? It just basically would be, if you wanted your cutting board to have a square finish, this is basically that. It looks like it's square, and then we could sand it a little bit more to round it out, but that's it. And then I unplugged the router, the hand router, the palm router, so I could take the bit off without worrying about it hitting my hand.
So there you go. So that's the quarter round.
Yep.
Nice.
And then I just need to make sure that it's level with the surface so that I don't actually bite into the edge with the there's just a little bit of a straight edge on one side on the very end of it.
Yeah.
So I want to be as close as I can to that platform. And if this were the final bit that I was using, I might actually, and I probably will, there's a little wheel here for plus and minus a little bit, but I'm just trying to chunk off a lot of the wood so I don't do it all at once with the half-inch rounder, which is where we're going. I'm just trying to take off a little bit at a time to keep it reasonable.
Hey, Printmaker. Printmaker says that palm router is really a neat tool.
Yes.
And Barbados Blackbelly says, looking nice.
Alright, I'm going to mute again. We'll do the quarter round, and then I'll come back for the in between switching out.
Okay. Hey, Printmaker, how you doing? Do you have a Printmaker command? No, we don't. You don't have time to stream, Printmaker. Ah, okay. Sorry. I assumed. Yeah, we have a table router in our garage, but it's kind of packed up. Yeah, shout out for being busy. Exactly, Printmaker. Printmaker's busy. Definitely gets a shout out for being busy. And besides, we can point people to who you mod for, right? Woo. My chair's sliding. Look at that. They're really getting rounded now. So cool. There it goes. I'm so excited about this. It's very cool. You love woodwork? Yeah, I used to do more than I do now. Right now, I don't do any, so that's a lot less than what I used to do. It does look smooth, doesn't it? And it hasn't even been sanded yet. It's only just been through the planer. He's gonna flip it, flip it, flip it. There we go. Oh, it's gonna be so nice. It already is really nice. There it goes.
Hey, Maui
Hey.
Souri.
Let's see. That's Yara 11 just subscribed. Thank you for the subscription. It's greatly appreciated. The subscriptions from the stream go to support the work that Diatom's Attack does. It is a nice combination of woods, Printmaker. I totally agree. Hey, Robert O, how are you? Welcome in. It's a woodworking stream rattling down the edges of this beautiful cutting board. Hey, Robert. Robert, oh, you stream, right? I'll give you a shout out.
All right. I'll tell you the truth.
There you go. Have a shout out. We like to support streamers here. Nice. Hey. It's fun. It's a great community of people. Glad you started streaming. I'll have to check out your streams.
Hey, Roberto.
Yeah. And you got a subscription from Jar of Dirt 11.
Wow.
And they said, have a good day. Printmaker likes the combination of wood.
Yeah, I've been able to hear you. I can hear you while I'm rounder.
Okay. I'm just blah, blah, blah.
It's good. It's they have entertainment. I also feel a little bit like it's a like I'm an animal in a zoo, and you're like talking about like the orangutan in its natural habitat has created this cutting board. Watch as it routers, which makes me laugh while I was doing this. I thought, oh, that's cool. It's very funny. I have unplugged the Palm router again, by the way.
Planet Earth episode of Humans, yes. Tosses
Exactly.
a banana through the fence. Printmaker's feeding you bananas.
Excellent. I could use a banana right about now.
Yeah?
Well, actually, I had a big dinner, so
Oh, cool.
I'm in good shape, I think.
Very nice. Yeah. So you always unplug it when you change the blades.
Always.
Nice. Nice. Safety first.
Yeah. I can screw something up, except for my fingers. Those I can't screw up. If I screw those up, I don't get to just fix them or buy more.
Yeah. Well, in theory you can fix them, but you can't buy more.
Yeah. I don't have that kind of money. I need a lot more subs to buy new fingers.
Yes, that would be a lot of steps.
Alright, the half round is on.
Wow. Look
Here
at
it
those
goes.
edges. They're beautiful.
You don't want me to stop here, though, right?
No, keep going.
You want it rounder.
I want it rounder. I like round.
Okay. I mean, it's important that I give you what you want for this. I don't want to make you a cutting board and then you'd be like, I wish I'd have gotten it a little bit less round.
Yeah. No. Because you can always take off wood. It's hard to put it back on.
Well, that's true. That's why I was asking you here, because the next step takes off the last little bit, right?
Yeah, no. I like a rounded, nice round edge.
You're gonna get a round edge. It's coming. Okay. You can entertain them while I mute myself again.
All right. I like the incremental way that the wood comes off. It's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a nice edge. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, 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 it's moving. It's just shifting a little, though. Clamps are doing their job. Yeah, it definitely does throw off more of the sawdust. The sander with its little collection bag keeps the dust manageable, but this definitely has the spray. There we go. Very cool. And then it's going to get flipped. Isn't that lovely? Just saying goodnight to the family here. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Oh, there it goes. One more turn. Oh, it's gorgeous. Nice rounded corners. I always love the way the router handles corners. It just seems so nice. There it is. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Wow.
So, next step, sanding. And I'm basically just going to take it down one sanding step at a time. I had on here 80, which is basically sandpaper that removes wood, like if I wanted to get rid of some stuff. And I may actually need to touch up some of these edges just a little bit with it. But I think I can do it without using the 80. I think I can switch to a 120 for that.
Yeah.
Or
I was going to say
150.
120 is usually where I start.
Guess let's start with the 120. I think this is actually probably a little bit rougher than, maybe slightly rougher than what comes out of the planer right now. But but there's a little bit of a, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of a lip on both ends from the planer. So I want to make sure to remove that, and then there's a little bit of a little bit around the actual edges here needs to be also flattened out still, even after I routed it, because they stick out just a little bit, but it's not much.
Yeah. So one of the things when I was doing the woodwork that I was doing, we'd only use the sander like this when we were doing the initial sanding, and then afterwards we'd sand by hand so that we wouldn't leave any marks in the grain. But I guess I was using softer wood probably.
If you have an orbital sander, it should not leave any mark.
Okay.
It does. This is a random orbit sander,
Ooh.
and it moves in a way that is it should never leave marks, like sanding marks in the wood. If you used a the type that has, let's see, a belt sander, like one of these. If you use a belt sander, it pulls only in one direction.
Yeah.
And this would definitely leave marks.
Leave marks. Yeah. Yeah. Old big fat sander. Yeah.
It's also super heavy. And this thing is very light. And also, I put my hand right up against it while I was sanding. You know, as long as you don't grind your hand, you can't really hurt yourself with it. So that one, the belt sander, you can really get hurt. That thing is powerful, and it drags only in one direction. So, but this thing moves like a weird random orbit movement, and it won't leave marks.
Cool.
So that's the nice part about it. The other part is I hate sanding, like with a passion. It's like my least favorite thing to do. In fact, I used to, I mean, for wood shop, I used to just make stuff, and then I would just give it to Carlin and say, you know, like, if you want it finished, you have to finish it, because I just hate sanding. So I would do all the building, and then I would just be like, you can take it from here. Because she does all of the finishing in our house typically. If it's going to get clear coated, or if it's going to get painted, she almost always does all of that work. We each have things that we're good at, and that's the thing that she's very good at. So, so I usually don't fight it. But once I got this, I was like, okay, now you just need to do the final paint coat. Because I'm totally happy using the random orbit sander. This thing I actually really enjoy using, because it's easy, it's light, and you can change the speeds, you can change the whatever. You don't need to push, right? In fact, pushing kind of goes against what you need to do with it. It just kind of glide it over the surface. So it's actually not hard on my hands, typically.
Cool. Well, Printmaker says orbital sanders are awesome, and they wiggle while they rotate.
Yeah, it does like a little dance, basically, in my hand. All right, I'm going to mute, and then you're going to have to entertain people, I guess, for a little bit, because the sander is loud as it was before, right?
I will try.
Okay. Also, maybe tell people what you plan on making on the cutting board, you know, food-wise.
Oh, yes. Well, there we go. We can talk about that. So I cook almost every night. I do a lot of cooking. There are 4 of us here at home, and it is one of the things that I do. I've got a repertoire of recipes. You can imagine slicing crusty bread. Printmaker. So I bake bread. I haven't actually. It's been warm here in San Francisco, and I haven't had a chance to bake bread. But I bake sourdough bread, and it would be very nice for cutting a nice, fresh, crusty loaf of bread. I have been missing the cold weather here. It doesn't feel right to bake bread on a hot day. But it'll be nice because the board's so heavy. It's actually a really great size for kneading for me. So I can use it for both the bread fabrication piece with the kneading as well as the slicing at the tail end. Yeah. Getting sanded. So let's see, what else do I make? I was thinking so I'm actually going to be kind of missing Thanksgiving this year. So no big Thanksgiving meals. Will the board be reversible? Indeed, Printmaker. I believe it is completely reversible. It's identical on both sides. So it's very cool. So cool. Let's see what else. I won't use it for meat. I don't like using wooden boards with meat. But pretty much everything else, all kinds of chopping. Things we use all the time when we cook is like the peppers, celery, onions, carrots, mix. So I'm forever chopping peppers, celery, onions, and carrots. It's kind of a staple. But yeah, we get a box, CSA, so Consumer Supported Agriculture. They send us whatever is kind of fresh and local, and so a lot of what I make is depends on what comes in the box. Used to, now you do one. Oh, you do 10 pounds at a time of each and freeze them in packets? Oh, wow. Yeah, I would have to buy more in bulk. I mean, during the beginning of the pandemic, I had gotten a lot of bulk foods, and that made more sense. But now we get a weekly box. Oh, use them for soup and stew bases. Yeah, pretty much anything that goes in a pan starts with some either spices or onions, carrots, celery, peppers, garlic, pending. Usually garlic goes in a little later. Yeah, good stuff. It's really good. It's been too warm for soup. It's been too warm for a lot of stuff. A lot of what I've been doing has just been kind of like chop and cook quick. So everything's cut into kind of smaller, more uniform pieces, and then it gets added to whatever starch base we have. So quinoa or rice, a lot of pasta, potatoes, stir fry. Yeah, basically. Except instead of having a lot of the stir fry flavors with like the soy teriyaki flavors, we'll often do just a really simple olive oil and fresh herbs kind of tossed in. So it's a lot of fun. I do a lot of cooking. Spend a lot of time in the kitchen. And sounds delicious. Yeah. Well, I figure if you got to eat and you have the ability, it might as well be good. And it seems to work out. Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, because it was so difficult to get to the stores and the lines, there was a restaurant supply company that started delivering for individuals and not just restaurants, except they were still selling in the bulk sizes. And so I ended up getting like 25 pounds of onions and 50 pounds of potatoes and things like that. Giant packs of pasta. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But I did at that point I did like make ahead and freeze a bunch. So now it's so much nicer having the fresh food. I'm glad you like it, just number one. Yeah, the closer it gets to winter, the more involved the cooking becomes. There's like longer cooking stews and soups and heavy breads and things. But I mean, it was so warm today. It was ridiculous. It's like sunny, and if I bake or cook for a long time, then the whole house warms up, and we don't have air conditioning, so usually we just open the windows. But I'm forever asking what people have eaten because I'm always looking for ideas of things to make. And tonight it just cooled off enough. I had butternut squash and sweet potatoes I put into roast. So they're slow roasted in the oven and ready for use during the week. Those I'll make ahead. And I can make a soup with the butternut squash, or I don't know what I'll do with the sweet potato yet. I haven't decided. But it's cooked. We made vegetable frittata tonight. Ooh. That sounds good. What vegetables did you use? Red, yellow peppers, mushrooms, onions, and broccolini. Ooh, yummy. Yeah, I haven't picked broccolini. I haven't had any broccolini in our box. So we've been getting kale, like this curly kale and squash, and still some zucchini, which is kind of funny. And then a little bit of lettuce. Apples. Apples are big right now. Onions, garlic, are the kinds of things we've been getting in our box. So I was actually using up a chicken carcass the other day and made some broth. My son was under the weather, and we had so many apples. I put apples in with the broth. We had apples, and it was apples and fennel and chicken. Made a really nice broth. Ooh. It looks so smooth. You freeze your carcasses and use a huge industrial pot to make stock twice a year? Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait twice a year. Usually I'll do like two, like once I've got two carcasses, or sometimes, so here's the other thing, printmaker. Sometimes when I get my CSA box, I know I won't have time to cook everything, so I'll clean it or I'll trim it, right? I'll save the like the radish tops and the beet tops, and hey Moosey Fate, how you doing? Welcome in. And I'll put those bits that I can't use right away into the freezer, and then when it's time to make the stock, I just toss it all in. You were getting thrown off thinking you had another stream on. Yeah, I got to join on his voice chat, so I could talk while he sands, because it's hard. He has the microphone off. Something about carcasses. Yes, as in chicken, turkey, whatever, if you cook protein. Yeah, because of the sanding.
In headphones,
yeah.
it's too loud.
It is. It is quite loud with headphones.
For me, the headphones make it quieter.
So Moosey Fates here says hi.
Hi, Moosey Fate. I heard you come in. I can hear everything. I just can't talk when the mic is off. So.
Oddly enough, I'm not as surprised to hear you talking about carcasses as I am most people.
All right. Everything is nice and smooth. I'm just going to start sanding it down now. So I switched to 220. I'm going to do a once over with 220, and then I'm going to jump up to 330. I'll do a once over with 330. And then basically it's done, believe it or not. But when after I do the 330, I'm gonna actually spritz it with water, and I've got a little water spritzer thing here, and then I'm going to resand it afterwards. That's a trick that I learned first time I started making cutting boards, which is that when you get it wet, the wood starts to lift up a little along the grains. And basically, if you don't want to have it be lumpy and then you put the oil and whatever else on there, the beeswax and whatnot, it'll stay lumpy, right? So basically, I'm going to raise the wood up a little bit with a bit of water just to spritz, and then I'll sand it again to get rid of those raised up bits. And then for today, I'm going to coat it with this cutting board oil. I also have this Butcher Block conditioner, but the recommendation is that you put this on and then wait. That says overnight. I'm assuming they mean like 12 hours or 8 hours, and then put another coat of it on. And it says if it's thicker than 1.5 inches that you should do 3 coats, but I probably will just do 2. This keeps it from cracking and drying out. And then I'll put probably 3 coats of this Butcher Block conditioner on it. But those have like, well, this one it's like 25 minutes between each coat of this, and it's like they want you to wait like basically half a day between each coat of this. So I'm gonna put 1 coat of this on tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'll put another coat of it on before I go to work. And then when I come home from work, I'll have basically just the conditioning to do, which is like you heat up this stuff and then put it on there and let it dry. It actually absorbs into the wood, and it's got beeswax. It's basically going to keep all the little tiny holes that are in here from getting food particles in them, and also keep water out of it, because it's important that you keep the wood from warping and that sort of stuff. And this will keep it from drying out, and also if we fill those pores with oil, basically, then water won't be able to go into those pores, right? So, all right.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, you guys can go back to chatting about stuff that I'll be listening to while I do the 220 and 330.
Well, Moosey Feet says the cutting board is looking sharp, and they didn't think it would come together that fast with all the individual angle pieces gluing.
Yeah, I did all of the angle cuts in that one stream, and then I glued them together 2 at a time, and then I would clamp it down. And I had basically made a little channel that was the width of the board so I could jam them in there, and then I had clamps holding it to that width. So I could put 2 in with the glue, and then I would let it dry, and then put 2 more in and let it dry, and put 2 more in and let it dry. So it took me, I guess that was like, I think I had it done maybe the night that I did all the cutting. So that was what? Friday night? Oh, I got another sub.
There's another sub. Look at that.
Thank you for the subscription. Oh, is that Chengmania?
Yes.
Can you give Chengmania a shout out? I actually watched Chengmania stream for a while this morning. They were fixing a piano, and they do have sort of a wood shop there. So for people who joined us a little bit late, I'll hold this up so you can see. I've been building a cutting board for Pacific Plankton. This is the design. And I cut these pieces and cut the boards on the previous stream, and then I glued it off stream because the gluing process is really boring. It's like basically I paint a little bit of glue on 2 pieces of boards, and then I slap them on the outside, and then I clamp it and wait and do it again. So and then once I had it all together, I started off this stream by running it through the planer. I had already planed the backside of it, and so I just had the top of it to plane, which is where most of the relief was. And then we routed the edges, and now we're to the point where we're just sanding, doing the fine sanding. And I have to mute while we do that, and so Pacific Plankton has graciously opted to do the voiceover while the mute is running.
Oh, so. before you mute yourself, Chumania wants to know the wood. They're saying walnut, cherry maple, babinga, and bloodwood.
None of those things. So this is wait, did I say maple?
They did. They said maple.
Okay,
Maple.
this is maple. This you can see my finger. Yeah, okay. This is hard maple, and this lighter colored wood is Macacaba, which is a really heavy, dense tropical wood. And this bright red color or orange colored wood is Padauk, which is a classic orange colored hobby wood. It's a little bit, it's very lightweight and it's a little bit less dense, but I have it sandwiched between two really hard woods, so I don't think that it'll mark much. And then this is just alternating between the Padauk and the Macacaba. And then around the outside, this is actually Jatoba, which is called Brazilian cherry. And it's actually the hardest wood basically you can buy, maybe next to bamboo. I think it may be even harder than bamboo. So that's a super hard wood, and the maple is super hard. And this Macacaba is extremely dense, and then this Padauk is not. So it's just 4 woods. But the Jatoba is all around the outside edge in the frame, and so the main body of it's just 3 woods repeated. And I cut these 45-degree angle pieces, and then I put them all together, and then I cut them and flipped one of the boards so that so it made these herringbone pattern. And then I had one little strip left, and I put that strip in here as well. So I had some conversation with Pacific about having symmetrical versus asymmetrical elements. And this actually has a combination. So this has got a high symmetry, right? And then basically these parts are all asymmetric, but this is evenly spaced. So it has a perfect symmetry around the frame, obviously, and then this board. And the rest of it's basically asymmetric, which I kind of like. And as she mentioned, it's two-sided. I know somebody asked, is it going to be reversible? The only thing that I might do in a board like this, but I don't think it's a good idea, is I could put little feet on the bottom of one side, but I don't really know, other than making other than making it so that it doesn't slip on your countertop, there's not really a good reason to do that. And it's a big enough board that I don't think it's going to slide very much anyway. So I wasn't going to put the feet on, but I had no plans on putting the feet on. But it is something you could do with this, and it would make it mostly reversible with just like a little bit around the feet. But I feel like I didn't have any intention of doing that. I decided early on that I wanted to have it completely flippable because, that's what Pacific asked me for. So, okay, I'm going to go back to sanding, and I'll try to remember questions, and you can just answer things if you know the answer. So
I will try. So yeah, I don't like feet on cutting boards or wood blocks because you have a silicone placemat, so I just use a towel, like a dish towel. And if it's really dry, if it's really dry and your counter's really smooth, you just get it slightly damp, wring it out, and lay it flat, and then you can put the cutting board on top of that, and it won't move. So it's extremely multi-purpose, and then when I'm done, I use it to wipe up whatever drips off the edge. So it's handy. It's handy. But yeah, no feet. I have one chopping block that has feet on it that isn't reversible, and I've actually thought about taking the feet off, but I haven't. I was like, I could take the feet off and sand it down, and yeah, you don't like feet on your cutting boards either. I mean, it depends on what you're using it for, I suppose, right? Like if your counter is, you don't want things to get like on the other side of the cutting board, right? Where it can kind of like soak under. That could be an issue. But I guess I don't do a lot of really juicy stuff in my kitchen, on my cutting boards, where it would like run off and around and under the edge. Because I feel like bent feet might be useful, right? Or if you were like trying to like slide a tray underneath so that you could like catch stuff you were cutting onto a tray. So smooth. Let's see. Did I miss anything else here? Hold on. And thank you for the subscription. That's so cool, right? The angle cuts was what you saw last. Okay, Moosey Pig. And I didn't know the raise the grain trick. That's really cool. Let's see. Printmaker, you've been refinishing your dining room set. The tabletop is all ready for staining. Oh, wow. And then is Diatoms using both the cutting board oil and wax or just the oil? So I understand that it's the oil first and then the wax. So the oil, I guess, will soak deeper into the grain or into the wood. Yes, he's nodding. Nice. And then the wax is more surface. Yeah. So when I was growing up, my grandma would, I would always help her in the kitchen, and he would have me help her with the cutting boards, and we'd use beeswax.
Nothing is
just
impossible.
like straight
Not if you can imagine it.
beeswax on the boards. So we'd have to scrub them, and I can't remember what she had us scrub them with. I want to say vinegar. And then if there were really big marks from the knives, we'd have to sand them a little, and then the beeswax would go on. We'd heat up the board and then heat up the wax, and it would get poured over. She had a funny little double boiler thing for her wax, a little wax pot. But and reposition. Flip! It's completely flippable. That's very cool. There it goes. Hey, Lee Valley Tools. So I'm Pacific Plankton. He's got, he can hear, but he can't respond at the moment because of the sander noise. So hopefully it's nice and quiet for everybody listening, and their ears aren't being assaulted by power tools. Oh, you do? You follow me too with my Croscopy streams? I'm really glad you like them. So I'll be streaming on Tuesday, and then probably not again Thursday. I'm still trying to figure out how to get a daytime stream in. I just have a lot of things going on right now. The Lee Valley Tools? Oh my goodness. Do you stream Lee Valley Tools? Should I be giving you a shout out? Find out. This is the real Lee Valley Tools. Oh, you do? You do? Oh, wow. Oops, let's see here. Oh, you just started streaming on Twitch. Sweet. Wow. Well, here, let's do a shout out for Lee Valley Tools. What kind of stuff do you stream? I'm assuming it's crafting and like building, woodworking stuff. Yes? Got nice jigs, huh? Let's see. Wow. Oh, you have a nice dove jig? Very cool. Samsung wants to know, could you tell me if you'll ever stock the brass pocket microscope telescope? You need a couple. Lee Valley Tool says gardening tips and tricks, woodworking tips and tricks, DIY projects. Oh, cool. Yeah, dovetail. Oh, dovetail, yes. What a cool resource. We should check them out.
Hey,
Hey,
how's it
you're
going out
unmuted?
there? Yeah, I'm
Oh yeah, Lee
unmuted.
Valley Tools. Lee Valley Tools is here.
Yeah, I heard. Welcome in. And yeah, thanks for giving them a shout out. Sounds pretty cool. I'll give you a follow when I'm not busy sanding. Probably later tonight. We're going to switch up to, this is 320. And that's basically it. Once this is done, the project will be almost complete. So I'm going to give it once more with the really fine stuff. Actually, while I'm got that off, let me see if I can find the higher. I'm sure I do have something higher than that.
Were you going to spray it down? When are you going to spray it down?
Oh yeah, before I gotta do this twice. Once I'll run through it over with the 320, and then I'm gonna actually I'm gonna run some cheesecloth over it, and then I'll spray it down, and then we'll do one more sanding with the 320, and then oil, and then it's it. All right, so go back to entertaining. Thank you.
So Lee Valley Tool says we're just checking out the other makers tonight, and Printmaker says the Craig Pocket Dig Tool is wicked. These Lee Valley Tools, indeed. Those little Craig Pocket Dig Tools are kind of cool. So smooth. There we go. So I have a package in the mail on its way to Diatom's Attack. And hopefully it'll be arriving tomorrow. In time for the cold weather. I haven't missed out on the cold weather opportunity. Is it bread? Printmaker. Actually, it's a knitted hat. So I knit. It keeps my hands busy, and I can sit with the family when they're relaxing and hanging out, and not feel like I'm not doing something. I don't know. Does that make sense? I get fidgety. So I knit. Yeah, not idle. That's the right word. So I knit. And while it's a lot of fun, I have a huge basket of like knitted hats and scarves and cowls and things that I've been accumulating. And everyone in my house and everybody near me here is like, enough with the knitting. Oh, when you're not refinishing your crocheting, you crochet. Oh, very cool. My grandmother crocheted. She taught me how to crochet. I crochet some, but I'm less comfortable with the hooking than I am with the knitting. I like building the fabric over all the loops at the same time, as opposed to like looping individually around the edge. I don't know why. You knit some, you're the opposite. What are you going to finish the cutting board with? So Lee Valley Tools, he was showing there's I think a mineral oil that's going to go on first. There it is, cutting board oil. And then after that, there is a like a beeswax based mix. There we go, the Butcher Block conditioner that's going to go on next. Yeah. And then at my end, as I use it, and it gets it's going to get heavy use here at my house. It'll get managed probably with beeswax. So, but yeah, so there's a hat. There's a hand knit 2-color hat. It was the first time that I used a stranded color pattern to make a to make a hat. It's like a Fair Isle pattern, but it's not a Fair Isle. It's a Fair Isle style, which is using two colors at once in the same knitted fabric. So it's kind of double thick, which should be good for the cold weather. You look forward to seeing it. Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll make it. It'll make it hopefully by tomorrow, and it'll fit, I hope. We'll find out. Let's see. One of the things you like to do is include a small bottle of conditioner with the board. When you give them as gifts, that's really nice. I have all kinds of stuff, and I've got beeswax that I use on my nice boards anyway.
I'm the same way. I usually put a little bottle of conditioner in, or I'll take a little bit of that Butcher Block conditioner basically and move it into a little bottle. But Pack told me she doesn't want that. She's got her own plans, which is also fine. It will work out.
So that's a tack cloth, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some of the dust off of it before I spritz it. Yeah, sorry. It's just a tacky cheesecloth basically for grabbing dust. And so it's not doing anything other than grabbing some of the really fine dust off of the surface. That's another trick. These things don't cost very much, but they do a nice job of like collecting the junk off of the surface. And then
you could probably make your own. I was like, it's gonna be like what, like wax and not oil, maybe a little bit of like some emollient or something. Ooh, crisp. Look at that.
You can already feel how much the wood rose up when I did that. So I'm just gonna flip it over. But this is the color that it should end up being, so that's pretty...
Moosey Fate says, and not too bad for straining out some sawdust milk, making sawdust milk either.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. Doesn't sound very tasty, but maybe with enough butter.
Yeah. we have bags like that for making like almond milk or oat milk or.
So especially the maple, I can feel the grain standing up.
Wow.
All right, time to mess it up again.
Like 4% sawdust. 0.4% sawdust. Yeah, I was at the store and they sell nut milk bags, so you can make your own nut milks and oat milks and things. I use cheesecloth for straining yogurt though. I haven't made yogurt in a while either. That's something else I should be making. The sawdust milk concept. It's probably like a really great way to extract stuff from the wood for, let's say, I don't know, adding to like a compost tea. Like there's something that'll come out of it. Let's see. There's a modified cottage cheese. Ooh. Oh, you made Ethiopian cheese with it? Nice. Modified cottage cheese. I have not made cottage cheese. I've done yogurt. I wanted to try making some mozzarella, but yeah. Oh, you made nut cheese from it once. Ooh. Yeah. Cheeses are interesting. It's like fancy rotten milk, right? Delicious stuff, though. Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, the yogurt cheese is good because it's like cream cheese, but it's with a yogurt base. So, and it doesn't involve any cooking. It's basically just straining. You strain it. Easiest plant-based milk is the banana milk. I've never made banana milk. How do you make banana milk? I mean, is it just like blended bananas? I'm relocating. 1 banana, 2 cups of water in a blender, no straining involved. Oh, wow. That does sound good. So kind of like a smoothie. And then if you want, you could add some blue spirulina algae to it, and it'll look like something from a science fiction meal. They sell banana milk a lot in Europe. Oh, really? In some regions, they sell banana milk. Not at all. So I got some blue spirulina for a recipe that Studio Cornix gave me. She's great. If you don't follow her on she doesn't stream on, let's see, on Twitch, but she has an amazing Instagram and her website is really cool. You should totally check her out. She made some recipes that were algae based, and she's a lot of fun. Die Tom's Attack interviewed her not too long ago as well, and that was a lot of fun. Got some spirulina once for shakes. Pretty sure it was rancid. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, no, you gotta get it. It's gotta be good. So it was like a blue daiquiri with spirulina and coconut milk, and it was very, very good. More tacky cloth.
Yeah, are you ready for this?
I am ready.
This board's almost done.
Wow.
We're at that point.
Moosey Fate says so they got spirulina once for shakes. Pretty sure it was rancid when they got it. They didn't know any better. Printmaker says blue spirulina makes a lovely color in soap. Interesting. And because Moosey Fate, because I was told it didn't last long, and years later it smelled just like when it was new. So it does sound smooth, right? Just the noise from the cloth moving over the.
Oh, it's super
board.
Smooth.
Smooth sounds. Soothingly smooth sounds. I could read it, would have.
All right. This is. Yep. Next up. Get ready.
Getting ready.
I don't know if there's a seal on this bottle. Oh, there is.
Huh.
I guess so people don't tamper with your cutting board oil.
Yeah, that could be dangerous.
I
Let's watch
guess.
the colors pop. Here comes the magic.
Yeah. We're gonna do some magic.
Are you ready, Printmaker? Wow. Oh. Look at that. It's gorgeous.
It's alright.
Snack.
Turned out okay.
It turned out spectacular.
You get to do it twice. Well, it says two coats on, so I'm probably going to do one more on the other side and on both sides.
Look.
Seems like something you could maybe cut some bread on.
Oh yeah. I could knead the bread and cut the bread. All kinds of toppings gonna go on. You think you might be doing yours wrong? What? Cornelia?
Doing what wrong?
I don't know. Says, oh wow, I think I might be doing mine wrong. Oh, what the color should. No? Yes? The board would be a great display piece for a charcuterie as well. Yeah, I don't do a lot of display stuff in my house. We're more about the like practical using piece and less about the showy. It's just gonna make me happy every time I use it.
That's why I used really hard woods. Basically, I want it to be something that's not just for cutting cheese on or whatever. But I feel like it's looking good.
It is looking good. So they say I usually pour it on and spread it with my hand and let it soak in for a few minutes and watch the bubbles come out.
Well, you can see it's already absorbed all of what I had put on.
Yeah.
But also I have two sides, so I feel like I can just keep putting it on. And it's also, turns out it's also treating my workbench, so a bonus.
Sam Chung says, don't forget the size. Printmaker says, looks great. And Lucy Fates, ingredients for another algae cheese with coconut milk, coconut vinegar, salt, agar powder, tapioca, and flour. Wow. And it's treating your hands too.
Oh yeah, I've got it's got vitamin E in it. You know, all these cutting board products have to be treated with vitamin E so that they don't go rancid, because they're based on, like, I don't know, some sort of food-based oil, right? So to keep it from going rancid, they put this really high content of vitamin E in it.
And Chininia says, super woodworker nerd question. What kind of glue did you use?
For these, I used Gorilla Wood Glue. Mainly because I don't need a lot of time for repositioning. And because I was doing just a couple of boards at a time. I do have some, I do occasionally use the whatever the most common brand is, the Type Bond or whatever it is. But those are usually for, like, if you need a little bit more time to reposition things. And for this, I really didn't think I would, and so I don't think that it's completely a big deal. But there it is. And then I'm going to let this soak in for until tomorrow morning. And then I will add another coat, and then, well, 2 coats. And then once that's done, then I'll do the conditioning on top of it. And then it'll be ready. So that's probably, could ship as early as maybe Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday.
Wow.
Trying to come up with a way to pack it correctly so that it doesn't get dinged up at all, and then it's probably going to cost a little bit to ship it because it's super heavy. And it's only going to get heavier as I add beeswax and oil to it. So
Lucy Fate says, you're not conning it, you're going to another visit to pick it up? Well, maybe in the spring I have to come back and help open up the house, and there's apple trees to prune.
I don't know that I conned her into the first visit. I feel like it's the opposite.
I conned him into letting me come.
Because I didn't have a whole lot to do, I guess. But, alright, that's that. We did it.
So cool.
Start to finish. We started on streaming on Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Friday afternoon, like around 6. And I did all the cuts, and everything else basically was just gluing, which is kind of a lot for this middle part. But one other thing to note, for people who are wondering, these two reds look like they're a little bit different on the middle braid, but they'll probably all sort of turn to this darker red color eventually. This sort of stuff oxidizes, and this is probably just this cut was a little fresher than that cut. So it should actually over time turn to a little bit more like this dark color. But,
oh, thanks for the bit, maker.
Oh, the project is now complete to the best of my knowledge, except for a little bit of conditioning. So, thanks for hanging out, and also for Pacific Plankton, thanks for entertaining people while I used power tools and was trying to make a lot of noise in my basement.
Yeah.
Also, you should check out Chinkmania's stream. I thought it was very entertaining. He showed us how pianos work. He had like the whole hammer system like for in a single key, and he was sort of showcasing how when you hit the key, like what it actually does, and it's super complicated. I mean, as complicated as you might expect.
Good news, everyone.
But you should definitely check out his streams. I thought that was very cool, and yeah. So thanks for hanging out. I guess I should find a person to raid.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Is somebody on?
Mind of a Snail is on.
Oh, it's Sunday night. Yeah, we could go attack Mind of a Snail. That'd be perfect.
I don't know. Let's see. They were doing that special thing though. Let me see if they're.
What special thing?
I don't know if it's still. Maybe it's just their Sunday night thing. They had that special event.
Oh.
But I don't think it is. Let's see.
Well, I have some other people that do like music. We could go after. Like Asymmetric Soul is on, and let's see, Coconut Cream is making soap, but probably would rather raid Mind of a Snail because we've never actually been able to raid them that I know of.
Oh, that'd be fun. Let's do it.
Okay. That'll be good. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and I'll probably make something else in the woodshed here eventually. As it gets closer to Christmas, I just keep making things typically, and I still have a bunch of purple heart I need to use, so I've got to figure out what I want to make with it. And I probably need to make a trip up to the lumber store in Indy and get some new woods, but I wasn't going to get any more until I used some of the ones that I have, so this was good for that. I basically used most of my Padauk and all of my Macacaba, and maple I can just get at the local store, so that's not a big deal. And I used most of my Jatoba as well. So, but those have been in my wood shop for like, I don't know, 2 years now or something like that. So I want to use them before they. Oops! What did we get? Another subscription?
Constababble's here. And
Oh,
she got
Constababble.
gifted a subscription from
Aw.
Chinkmania. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, we were doing a workshop stream, Constable. I was making this cutting board right here for Pacific Plankton, and
Look at that.
it's now complete. So you can actually see when I hold it, it's a little steady and the camera focuses, there's a bit of a stripe on this light and dark band right there, and then there's this sort of braided herringbone stripe down the middle, which is nice. And it's reversible, so the other side looks the same as this one. We're just getting ready to go get Mind of a Snail, a raid. So, did you give Constantable a shout out?
I did.
Okay, good.
I tried
All right.
Consta first, but it was Babble, so.
Excellent. And I forgot to change my my follower emotes, so right now they're still stuck on the ones that we use for Sylvia's stream. But I have another set of follower Yeah, the cutting board looks nice, and it's only going to look a little bit better as I add more conditioner and stuff to it, I think. And it absorbs up all of the you know, oils and wax. So very cool. All right, let's go raid Mind of a Snail. And if you missed the cutting board stream from
Hey,
before,
Maui Sowie.
is Freckled Science here too?
I think
Raid.
Freckle Science was given a gift subscription.
Yeah, I see that.
Also from Ching, but I don't see them here. Let's see if we
Chingmania
can
is going
still-
crazy with the subs. Thank you for all those subs,
No.
Chingmania. Mind of a Snail. Our friends Mind of a Snail, who have we've been following since they first started streaming on Twitch, and actually a little before that, because they used to come in our channel all the time, and they would hang out, watch the SEM streams. They would hang out and watch Pacific Plankton streams, and then they're like, all right, we're going to try to get ourselves organized for streaming. So we've basically been following them from the very beginning, and I love them. I think their stream is hilarious to watch. It's very entertaining. They do shadow puppetry and play music along with it, and they both are very funny, and they've been very supportive of our stream. So I'm sure you'll love it. If you don't know who they are, you can hang out for a little bit. They're zany and fun and goofy, and I think the way that Twitch is really sort of meant to be like a homemade TV show, basically. So, all right. Thanks a lot to Pacific Plankton. If you're not following Pacific Plankton, then we can't be friends either. So you better go follow her. And thank you for all the subscriptions for today, Chungmania, and I had a couple before that. I didn't catch the names. I just saw the subscriptions pass by. Unfortunately, I was busy using power tools. But okay, we'll catch everybody next time. Thank you.